Hello and welcome, this is Ruth, and today I've got the Scrumptious Sweet Cart die set. It's actually one of Tonic's showcase die sets, and I'm going to show you through this beautiful 34-piece die set and then some of the things that you can do with it. So first of all, I'm going to give you the finished measurement sizes of the sweet cart because I always forget to do that, so I'm going to do that right now. It's 140 millimeters by 184 millimeters by 67 millimeters, and in inches that is 5.5 by 7.2 by 3.5 inches. That's that out of the road now. I can rest. I don't know why it is, but when I get to the end of a video, I've just so many different things in my mind that I always forget to measure it, and then I post the samples off and I don't even have it here whenever you ask the questions. So that's it done this time. Now we're going to have a very quick look through these dies, and then I am going to just show you how to go ahead and make this. I'm also going to be making a step-by-step project with it, so you'll be able to see that in a blog post, and I'll link that down below too. Now don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd really love you to do that, because not only does it keep you up to date with everything as it's coming along, but it also helps my channel as well. And if you do enjoy it at the end, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. My affiliate links to everything that I use are always down below in the description of the video, so I always appreciate everybody who uses those too, because that doesn't cost you anything extra, but it does help me. So let's have a look. Well, first of all, this is the main die, and you're going to get your set in a folder with a magnetic sheet on it and some instructions as well. Now, I don't have those to hand because obviously I get the pre-launch production samples, but I've got all the dies here, and I just wanted to explain that that's how you'll have yours, and that's how I will store mine, because I'll be getting some extra wallets soon as well. But this is my big magnetic platform, and quite often I don't even use that as a sort of stand-up easel the way it's intended to be used, but I put my dies straight on there, and it means that whenever I'm going to use them, I don't lose them. And then if for some reason I have to go on to something else, I can just fold this over, close the book up, set it on the floor, and those dies aren't going anywhere. And then I just bring it back up and start all over again. Anyhow, this is the main die which makes the set, and I noticed already on my little instruction form there that you're going to need 10 of these wheels. Well, you can only see 2 of them on the actual sweet cart, so the extra ones are for stability. So I'm suggesting that as you start to run some of this stuff through the die cutting machine, on something like that where you're going to need so many, don't wait to the end and then have to go 1, 2, 3, the whole way through up to 10 with that. Stick a wheel in as you're doing something else each time as you're die cutting, and you'll have your 10 in no time. But just have a look at this, because this says sweets here, and that is a really beautiful verso die, so you can actually cut that into anything. That would be beautiful on any of the boxes that you might already have, and then this beautiful little plate that would cut it out, and you can set that on. That would be amazing on lots and lots of the die sets that you already have. This then is Open Me, so that's the little place where the compartment is, where you can open it up and put the treats in. But wouldn't this be beautiful? I'm going to be making mine in red and white sort of stripes and spots and whatnot, but wouldn't this be absolutely beautiful as a little decoration on wedding tables? And you could have that in say golds and whites and different things as well, but there's so many different ways. Parties, weddings, just a little gift. Really beautiful. So we've got little floral elements here, flowers and leaves and a bow and some stems. Beautiful bunting, and I know we've had bunting dies before, but this one has a beautiful little debossed heart in it, and that's gorgeous. And 2 little borders, obviously one's for the long side and one's for the short side of the little sweet cart, but you could use those for so many things, and you could even make little frames up with them. So more of these pieces then we'll be able to identify as we actually go through the making of this, but there's a balloon and then 2 different elements for the corner, and then I think this is the striped piece for the little awning. So I'm going to go and get some card out now and get started, and I'll be right back. Well, in between the last little video clip and this one, I have actually made a blog post, so it's a step-by-step blog post, and if you like that kind of thing as well, you can go over and have a little look at that, because I'll leave the link down below. But I made this one in the blog post, and isn't it really beautiful? It's actually even nicer than I expected it to be. But it's good because that means that I can show you then exactly how to make this and all the bits and pieces that make it up. It's very easy, it's very straightforward, and it looks really, really beautiful, and you can decorate that just whatever way you like. So first of all, you'll get the full cutting list in the instructions, and the very first thing you'll notice is that it tells you to cut out 2 of these shapes. Well, I did that for this one, but you don't actually need to cut the full thing out twice, because in actual fact you'll need 1 of them, and then the second part you're actually only going to be using this piece and this piece here, so you don't need that piece at all or that piece, and if you want you can just set a card behind that, and that saves you cutting out the whole lot of it. So first of all, I would go ahead and cut out 1 of those, as I've done here, and I've burnished all of these score lines. So you can see, if you have a little look here, this is the handy thing about having one already made up. The whole base of this is made up of this, and then we add these little stem legs, whatever, the supports in through these little tabs here. So if you go ahead and cut this piece out and burnish all those folds really, really well, really, really carefully. This is a great little bone folder for that. And just make sure, again, I've used 300 GSM, so it's a Craft Perfect card, and you'll see I use a mixture of sort of Craft Perfect 300 GSM and the classic card, which is 216. I might even add a little bit of 250 gram mirror card in this time, just to make this a little different from this one. But I would reckon you could probably make this out of 216, but I really love just to have a really sturdy base. So back to this again. All of these are burnished and folded in, and then I'm going to put glue along this tab here and close that over. Before I do, go ahead and stick that together. If you happen to want a top opening in your little sweet cart, so if you happen to want the opening inside here, now I haven't done it on that one, I've kept the opening to the back, and I'm going to do that with this again because I just think it's easier to get at. But if you do happen to want it there, just identify it. You'll see it here. This is the top, so before you would glue this together, put this little piece on, and this has a fold line here, 3 cutting lines and a little place to put the handle, and you would put that on there and tape it down and run that through your die cutting machine, and then that leaves a little flap that opens and closes there. I'm not going to do that because, as I said, I just find it more accessible from the back, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this down here. So now you need to make little areas here where the supports can go up and down. So these long pieces here, and they're going to fit down through these little top flaps here. So if you just pop each of those on the top down inside, so you're just going to fold that over. I find it easier to do this after you have actually made this up, and then you know exactly which ones you're going to fold down in. So you just take the 4 on the top, fold them in, and then on the bottom here you're going to fold these 2 up, and the reason being that the long handle or the long pole pieces are going to go right down through those, and I'll show you that on the one that I've already made up. You don't need to pop those in at the back because that's going to just show you where these arrive. So if you can see here, this long area goes right down through, so it's going to go right down through here and out through here, and on the back it goes right down and just stops in here, so you don't need to pop those little bits up in. So now we can go ahead and make those long pieces. So this die is the one that you'll use to cut those out, and if you just notice there are little lines in that. So you're going to cut 4 of them out all together, and then on 2 of them, whenever you have them die cut, you'll see those little lines marked on there. You're going to cut 2 of them off right across those lines, so you'll have 2 long and 2 short. You won't need these small pieces, so you can just throw those away, and then go ahead with all of those little score lines and fold each one of them over and burnish them on all four. And then I'll carry on with those in a minute or two, but whenever you've got them to that stage, just pop glue along one edge like that, and you're going to do the same thing on the four of them, and fold that over, pop this on top just like that, give it a good old burnish down again with your bone folder, and then you can open that up and that's your little supports made. So again, you're going to need four altogether, two of the longer ones and two of the shorter ones. I suppose depending on what card you're using, you might not be able to see that too well where the little line is. So I've actually just put a piece, I've just drawn on it with a little pencil and made that a bit more visible for myself. Maybe your eyesight's better than mine and you don't need that. But anyhow, now these two longer ones have those marks on them, and I'm just going to pop them right down through there and out through this little gap in the bottom. And you'll see there that those little flaps then become the little guides and supports for this. So if you follow this down until that little line is just right there, you'll be able to put glue on the inside of those little flaps to hold them in place, just like that. And then you can go ahead and put glue on there as well. So can you see I'm putting the glue right down there, and then just fold this over and just make sure that the little line is still in the same place. And then you can go ahead and do exactly the same thing on the other side. On the back then, you'll just pop these down inside and it stops quite naturally right there, just on top of this little piece this time. And all you need to do is pop glue on this little tab again, there, and hold that in place just right down there and hold that together. And then you just do exactly the same thing on over here. Now, I've obviously done this because I wanted wheels on mine, but if you don't want wheels on the back and you just want the cart to have the supports going right through, you would have four of these and just do them in exactly the same way as you've done the front ones, and the back ones would come right down as well. But I kind of like this little idea with the wheels on the back here, so I'm going to do the same thing on this one, but just be aware of that as well. Now I am going to add the little back panel and the little front panel on here. And again, on this one, you could have the panel opening at the back or the front, but I'm going to have it at the back because it just makes it a little bit easier with these little panels on here. It just makes it a bit more straightforward. So I'm going to cut this little panel out twice, and as you can see, that just fits exactly on there. And on one of them, I'm going to pop this into the center, and that then will give me a little hinge on here and the cut lines across there. I thought, seeing that was debossed, that I would like to have it in some mirror card this time. So I've really just cut out this little panel and cut straight across there, and you can see I've got some double-sided tape on there, and I'm just going to pop that on there. So that will be the little piece that says open me, and then I'm going to just fold it along there so that it does still open and close. Now I actually trimmed that slightly inside the line just so that it would still do that. And as I did on the other one there as well, I like to fold it both ways so that it doesn't just keep popping out whenever it's ready to go on, because the last thing you want is this to be glued on and this just to keep falling open. Although I actually have cut these little pieces here for the end, but I don't want to put them on just yet because they're a wee bit awkward to work with until the thing's actually finished. I'll show you them on here. These are the little square ones, and they're really, really lovely, and you can add a little piece of ribbon to hold it. But it just means that whenever you're working at the machine, or the little machine, the little cart, it's a wee bit awkward when it's sitting down and it's not flat. So I would just leave those to the end if I were you. But again, this is the front with where the little handles are going to be. I'm going to put glue on all of these panels, pop that one straight on, do exactly the same thing at the back then with this one that opens. These are the little dies that you use to make the little supports that go on here. And actually on the other one there, I folded these tabs back and glued them in there and down here. But I'm just going to go ahead this time and do it probably the way it was on the instructions anyway. So I am going to glue this one on here, and then I've cut them out twice. Once in the colour that I actually want them in, which is the red. And then I am going to just nip off these little glue tabs on these ones and glue them in behind. But actually, I think I might just, let's see how this looks. Yep. So on this one in here then, I think I'll just nip off the glue tab down this side, and I'll take it just a little sliver off there and see how this goes. Yeah, I'm going to take a little sliver more off that, and then I'll glue that straight down there. And that will go on there, and then that will strengthen on the inside and the outside. Hopefully you can see that there, but you can see where I've now got the white panel, and the red one is on over the other side, and then this one where I've just taken the panel off there, little glue tab will go on there, and you'll have 3 little bits across the top here, and that should be really, really strong. And then when you do that, just repeat on the opposite side as well. Now I'm going to do exactly the same thing on this side, and then whenever it comes to the adding the panel on the top here, that actually covers these little glue tabs and everything's fine again there. So don't worry about that being visible at the minute. Just go ahead and put your other one on here. Now we're going to make the little roof. So you'll take this die and cut that out twice and burnish the score lines again. And these then are the little glue tabs. So you'll be able to see here, I'm going to add glue onto both of them. Just right along there and right along there. And then just slot one in behind the other like that. And that then makes your little roof. Now we've got 2 end pieces to go on here, and they are cut out with the little die that's like a little triangle with glue tabs on. So that's this one, and again I'm going to pop those right in there. So the glue tabs on here will get glued in here, and then these 2 will stabilize this at the bottom. You can see there how I actually scored and folded this little piece. It doesn't actually need to happen because it's really just a little guide where you can add on the little scallop edge So you can add these little pieces onto there, and it won't matter either way, but it just didn't really need to be done. It's just a little guideline to where to add that scallop on. Now I want to decorate the roof of this before I put it on, so you can see on this one that I actually just took this die and this die together, and I cut those out in white and laid them straight onto the red roof, and that gave lovely striped panels on it. I'm going to do this one slightly differently because I just remembered I had beautiful polka dot ribbon, so the Craft Perfect polka dot ribbon, really gorgeous stuff, so I thought it would look nice on this. So I've used both of these dies together and I've cut that out in red, and this measures 4 centimeters wide, so I am just going to put a little bit of glue in here, and along these edges you could probably use double-sided tape, but for some reason I just prefer glue because I think it keeps everything lasting longer. You could add glue on, add double-sided tape on first maybe if you want, just to hold it, and then a little bit of glue on after that. Either way, so long as you get these attached. I've cut slightly under 4 centimeters long, and I'm just going to lay each one over the little aperture there, and you can see how that's going to look there. If necessary, just slide it across a little bit, and isn't that gorgeous? It's turned out nice. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've cut out 5 for each side, and when I get the 2 of them ready, then I'm going to glue them onto the roof, and I'm going to decorate this piece as well just before I attach it to the little cart. Going to add some scallops on the same way as I did with this, because that is really beautiful, but I just wondered what this would look like, so I think I'm going to go with the spotty ribbon on here as well. So I've taken a length of this, and it's actually 39 centimeters long. It just is enough to wrap the whole way around here and overlap slightly, and I'm just going to peel the backing off this and then start right here in the center. I'm actually going to add a little bit of glue here and there along this as well, just for double security. I know one sort of negates the other, but I just want a little bit to grab. So right about there, because that's exactly where I'm going to overlap that, and you'll be able to see the little guideline there, this little mark at the top. See that little debossed line? And if I follow that the whole way around here, that will, oh, it does look lovely already, doesn't it? It's going to look really cute. Now I've taken these 2 little dies together and I've cut them out in red, and I've glued one on there and one on here. And now I can go ahead and attach the little roof or the little lid onto this. So I'm just going to put glue in here. See, right on those little tabs there. There and there on both sides of the corners. On all 4 corners. And then you can slide those little poles in and hold them in place. Noticed that I had the little join at the front there, so I slipped that off just before the glue grabbed very quickly and changed it round. Now I'm actually going to be covering that anyway, but I thought it would look better just putting it at the back. Now I want to add the little supports on where the wheels are going to go, so I need to cut this out 4 times, and then I'll glue 2 of them together, and each 2 will go on here, but I'll show you that in just a second. I thought I'd everything cut out, but I haven't done that, so I'll do that right now. I've cut 4 of these out, and I'm just about to glue 2 of them together here, and I have the other 2 glued, and that just makes them a little bit stronger because they're the pieces that are going to support the little wheels whenever they go on. So now you can see this is the part that the spoke of the wheel is going to go right over. So you can see there are two little marks here and here, and those have got to line up with this line here. So what I usually do is set this on here, and then that point will come out to here, and the other one will just fit right across there. So all you need to do is put glue on there and make sure this little mark lines up with the base and this little mark lines up with the base. Hold it in place until the glue dries, or grabs at least, and then flip it over and just do the same thing on the other side there. So again, this little point here will just come right down to the edge of this line. This comes out to the edge. Well, you can actually have it further out if you want, but I think that just is a really neat place to have it. Now when you've got those in place, you can take the two panels that you cut, and as I said before, I just put the card in behind those two pieces on the actual die and cut it, and then these will get glued on here. So you can see that they actually cover this and they cover these little glue tabs, and they tidy everything really up really, really well. I've glued 5 of the wheel pieces together twice, so I've got 2 wheels and they're very, very thick and sturdy now. And I've got little brads here, and I'm just going to pop them through. You can probably see some red on my nail. These brads weren't exactly the right colour. They were sort of an orangey yellow colour, so I just took my strawberry jam alcohol marker and coloured them, and now they match. So I'm going to pop this little brad right through this little hole here. Open the little split pin in at the back, and that's my little wheel in place. Turn it over and I can do exactly the same thing on the other side. Now I'm going to add on the little closure at the back here, and I've cut out 2 of these shapes and I've folded them in half, and I'm just going to pop one, open this up and pop one of them down in here, and I'll glue, oops, I'll glue that. This is the little compartment, then you'll be able to put the sweets and things in, or whatever treats that you're having. So I'm going to glue that on there just by putting glue on here, and then I'll do exactly the same thing up above that and line it up, and then that way I'll be able to bring them both together. See, like this. This little tab then will line up with that one. So I'm going to put glue on in this part this time, and take my little tweezers and pop that up in there. Now, this is quite hard to do on camera and actually get at it myself, but there it is. I think I've got it in the right place. I can't show you that on camera and get my finger into it, so I'll just move it around a little bit. And then that lines up there, and I need to leave that just for a moment or two just to make sure that the glue's perfectly grabbed in that. And just pop your fingers up in behind there and hold that, or even a little peg, but you'll be able to bring the front piece down once that's grabbed, and both of those go together, and you can put a little bit of ribbon through it the same way as I've done on this one. Now this time, instead of using the little borders along the top, because I've added the ribbon on at the top of the other one there, I'm cutting these ones out and I'm just putting them around here. And I just want to show you a really quick and easy way of making sure that that little debossed element there is visible. I hope it's visible on camera there. But anyway, whenever it comes out of the die, it's usually quite flat like that, and you'll want that little scallop more pronounced. So if you haven't time or haven't even got a mat, just take a little embossing tool and put your die back in again and just move it around inside there. It will naturally feel where that is, and then when you bring it out, you'll be able to see that. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue some of those around, and then I've taken the lovely little debossed sentiment, and this time again, because I've done it on the back, I've added some mirror card. So I'm just going to pop that on there, and then you can see this says "Have the sweetest day," and I've cut that out in mirror card, and I'm just going to pop that on there in 3D foam pads and There you are. Now I'm going to have a little look at this, and I've got some bunting and I've got some flowers. I've got lots of things, and I'm going to just see what I think suits it, and then I'll be right back whenever I've added those on. Still with these scallops here then, I've added a little Arctic blue one in at both sides. So I actually just put glue along the top edge, and it meant then that I was able to slip that up and slide another one in. And then I thought it would look really, really nice if I put some scallops at the top of the roof as well. So instead of just putting one on and then another on the other side, and there might have been a little gap of white showing, I've just taken a piece of red card, which is the same length as this. So I think that's 10.5 centimeters long by 2 centimeters wide, and then I scored it down the center and folded it over, and now I've just glued one of those to each side of that little fold, and that way when it folds over like this, you'll still see some red in between and it won't look as if it's unfinished. And then I can go ahead now and glue that directly on top there, and it looks really, really neat. There it is, all finished now, and isn't that so pretty? It's just a really, really lovely die set, and you can do so many different things with it. So I have added white bunting on here, and then I actually cut some red and blue, and then I nipped the little pieces off and glued them on top of that. And I've done the same on the other side, and then I've just overlapped some blue and red bunting at the front there. Then I cut a lot of little flowers, and I've glued them on here with some crystal drops in the center and some of the little leaves on around there, and here as well, and obviously on the other side there. And I think that turned out really, really beautiful. I'm really, really happy with that. Now, just one thing to be aware of with the crystal drops, I've added buttermilk crystal drops into the centers of the flowers here, but because I actually used this little mat here and I pressed the centers of the flowers in, actually I'll just show you what I did. I pressed the centers right in like that to get some dimension. Whenever you put crystal drops into the center of that, sometimes they dry a little bit hollow, they dip instead of rising up the way they would do if you put them on something flat. So you may need to come back and just give a little bit extra onto the top of it again. It's not a problem. They always have a really beautiful domed finish if they're on a flat surface, but if you're putting them into something that's already hollow, you may need to give just a little bit in the center and then add another drop on top, and that way it's all good at the end and they look really, really pretty. So that's me finished. I added the sweets into the center here. As you can see, that's the same little piece that I added onto this one on the side, and I've just put it in the center because I thought that looked nice, and I hope it's straight. At this time of the evening it's very, very hard to see with the way my lights are in the room, but I cut it out in some of the mirror card to match this piece and the bit on the back. Oh yes, I forgot to show you this. So this is one of the little borders as well, and it had such a beautiful debossing part on it. I just nipped it off so that it fit neatly across here and glued it to the little pillars at each side, and it's really nice, isn't it? Do you like it? So you can let me know what you think of that, but there they are. That's the two of them done, both in the same colours, but in this one I've added pink in along with it, and in this one I've added a little bit of Arctic blue, and well, quite a bit of difference between the two of them because I've got the ribbon and the dots and the stripes on this one and the balloons and whatnot, which I haven't added on this one, and some mirror card and different bits and pieces. So I hope you really enjoy those. I've loved them, and I can think of lots of things that I'd like to put in them, but I think they would make really, really beautiful little centerpieces on party tables or wedding tables or lots of different things, just to give as a little gift. And in fact, you could probably add some of those elements to a card, put this on the front and some of these scallops and the bunting and whatnot, and that would be really, really beautiful as well. So don't forget to check out the blog post if there's anything that you're not too sure of and you want to have a look at how I made this one. You can check that one out as well. But thank you once again for joining me, and don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed, I'd really, really love you to do that. That would help me so much in my channel and help me on my way. And leave a little comment, give it a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, leave it a little comment. You can share the video if you like as well. And also my affiliate links for everything are down below. And until next time, happy crafting. See you soon. Bye bye.